Dear students, in last class you have studied about the material used in making of line insulators, then their ratings and safety factor definition. Today you will learn very commonly used type of insulators such as pin type insulator and suspension type insulator. Types of insulators. There are four types of insulators which are used in overhead transmission lines. They are shackle type, pin type, suspension type and strain type. But here we are not going to study about all these insulators. We are only interested in pin type insulator and suspension type insulators. There are four types of insulators which are used in overhead transmission lines. They are shackle type, pin type, suspension type and strain type. But here we are going to study only pin type and suspension type insulators. The pin type insulators come in very small size. They have got simple construction and also their cost is less. But the cost of such insulators increases if the voltage rating is increased. Pin type insulators are uneconomical for higher voltage. As the name indicates, the pin or bolt is used to clamp the insulator to the cross arm on the pole. Yesterday I have shown you pin insulators. There should be sufficient thickness of porcelain between line conductor and the insulator pin to give a safety factor up to 10 against puncture. it is desirable to design the insulator such that flashover should occur before the puncture. Pin type insulators. The pin type insulators are small in size, simple in construction, and cheap. However, the cost of such insulators increases if the voltage rating is increased. In other words, we can say that pin type insulators are uneconomical for high voltages. As its name indicates, the pin or bolt is used to clamp the insulator to the cross arm on the pole. Figure here shows a pin type insulator. At the top of the pin insulator, here you can see a groove. In this groove, the conductor will be placed. To bear the weight of conductor, wind pressure and ice loading, the mechanical strength of the bolt here or the pin and the insulating material should be sufficiently high. In last class I have explained that the leakage current flows from the conductor through the surface of insulator to the pin. When flashover voltage is applied to the conductor, then a spark appears over the surface of insulator, and that is what we call as flash over. To avoid flashover, the path of leakage current must be increased. For that purpose, Here the watersheds or the petticoats are provided. These watersheds or petticoats are so designed that during the rainy season the outer surface becomes wet, but the inner surface of the petticoat remains dry only. So because of this, there will be discontinuations in the path of leakage current, and that avoids flashover. For 11 kV and 33 kV lines, pin type of insulators are used. The maximum rating of pin insulator of single unit is 50 kV. However, for larger rating, multiple units can be used, but the cost becomes more. I advise all the students to practice this diagram.
The groove at the top of insulator is used for conductor placing. The pin or the bolt and insulator must have sufficient mechanical strength to withstand weight of conductor, wind pressure and ice loading. By providing rain sheds or petticoats, sufficiently long spark or flashover
Distance between conductor and pin is maintained. The maximum rating of pin insulator of single unit is 50 kV. However, for larger rating, multiple units can be used. With increase in cost. With increase in cost. Suspension type insulators. Just now we studied that pin type insulators are uneconomical for high voltage applications. Therefore, for high voltage applications, suspension type insulators are used. For high voltage applications, string type of insulators are used. And can be categorized into suspension type and strain type. Here what you see is a suspension type insulator. You can observe here the diameter of suspension type insulator is more than the diameter of pin type insulator. When such many units are connected one to one to make a string of insulators, then these suspension type insulators are called as string insulators. According to the line voltage, number of units are selected and they are connected end to end. The top insulator will be hung from the cross arm of the tower, and to the pin or the bolt of the lowest suspension type insulator, there will be a clamp to which the conductor is connected. Here you can see the petticoats on both sides. So these petticoats help in keeping the inner surface of porcelain insulator dry during rainy seasons. Only the upper surface or outer surface becomes wet, and because of these petticoats only, the length of leakage current path increases and that avoids flashover. So this is cross arm of some tower. To the cross arm of tower, string made up of suspension type insulators is hung. And to the last one, a clamp is connected through which the conductor passes. Such arrangement is called as string type insulator. So it is cross arm of another pole. Here the insulator's string is kept in horizontal position. And to this the conductor is connected. On this side also there will be insulators which are suspension type insulators. To the last one, a conductor is connected. There will be a jumper used to connect these two conductors. The connections here must be firm connections. Now this type of arrangement is called strain type insulator. Suspension type insulator consists of one or more insulating units. Here this is one insulating unit. It is hung from cross arm and carrying power conductor at the lowest extremity. It is free to swing and therefore larger cross arms are required. See here, when wind blows, this string of insulator will start to swing left to right and right to left. So during this, the conductor may come in contact with the tower here. To avoid that contact, the length of cross arm should be increased. Similarly, in this case also. But here, when these string of insulators start to swing, there will be a chance of the neighboring conductors coming in contact. So to avoid that, the length of cross arm should be made longer. Than the pin type insulators. Because in case of pin type insulators, the pin type insulators are connected firmly to the cross arm using nuts. These suspension type insulators are having certain advantages. Which are those that we will see now? The main advantages of suspension insulators are: first one, these insulators are economical for voltage above 33 kV. Second one, Each insulator is designed for 11 kV and hence for any operating voltage a string can be made by using suitable number of units. Failed unit can be replaced by good unit. Without changing the whole string. Since it is allowed to swing in the air, mechanical stress at a point of attachment is reduced. Voltage rating may be increased by adding units. Sixth advantage, since the conductors lay below the cross arm, the line outages due to lightning. Strokes are reduced. Normally, these train insulators are used at the dead ends or at anchor towers. When tension in the conductor is very high, two or more insulators are used in parallel. Dead ends means where the transmission line ends. Thereafter, there will be no poles and no line conductors. Dear students, I will stop the class here and continue in next class with voltage distribution across suspension insulators. Thank you.